Hello, welcome to this Carte Blanche session. I'm Hervé from BenQ, and I'm your moderator today. Today's event is presented by Vincent Marcilhacy, who's going to present himself in a few minutes. George Selley, one of the winners of the 2017 Carte Blanche edition, will join us later to talk about his work. We'll finish the session by answering some of your questions, and you can interact during this emission using the chat. The studio is yours, Vincent.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. It's really a pleasure for me to be with you today, and it's always an honor to speak and to share the project we are trying to develop. I am Vincent Marcilhacy, director of Picto Foundation. Picto Foundation is the foundation created by the photo lab called Picto, founded in 1950 in Paris by Pierre Gassman. You can see a self-portrait of Pierre Gassman from the early 30s on the right image. Picto, since its foundation, really wanted to develop project to help photographers in their needs, and we very soon identify that emerging photographer needed to be helped to be known through the market and to make more visible their work, their experience, and their practices. So Picto Foundation wishes to promote the young talents who draw today new visual perspectives. This is in this idea, through this idea, that we decided to found Carte Blanche Students program in 2017, so more than 5 years ago now. And we the purpose of this program, Carte Blanche Students, it's really a program dedicated to students in master or bachelor programs in all European photography and visual art schools. And it's really dedicated to help them to access the market. We funded this program together with Paris Photo, which is, I'm sure you know Paris Photo, a huge international fair every year in Paris in November, and with objectives to allow galleries and artists to present their work. So it's a place open to, of course, collectors, but also a large audience to discover photography. And also with SNCF Gares Connexions, which produce and presents all over France through stations, exhibitions of photography and visual art. And so each year, Paris Photo invites the 4 winners selected by an international jury and to participate to the fair at the Grand Palais or the ephemera Grand Palais for a few years. And SNCF Gares Connexions invites them to participate to a big show in a Parisian station. As you can see on these images, so on the left image, you see the place where the photographers have their booth to present their portfolio. So on the right image, you see 4 of them, I think, of last year edition. So they have a table, a booth, and the possibility to interact with all the audience at Paris Photo. So journalists to do some interviews, collectors or curators or a director of festival, and they can show their work through a large portfolio of their images, which is produced for them by Picto Lab. So they really have most often the first opportunity to access the market and to meet for the first time people from different kind of photography experts. so this was a part at Grand Palais, and this is more illustrating the part concerning the way we propose them to present their work in installation in a Paris train station. So this is an outside station presentation, and this is really, and there you see more inside presentation on walls, on big screen, and this is very often for them. Also, well, of course, an opportunity to be known by the audience, by a large audience. This was in Gare du Nord, and Gare du Nord is one of the huge and maybe biggest station in Europe. But it's also for them an opportunity to expert themselves, to learn how to exhibit an image. You know, it's one thing is to do your own work as a photographer. Another thing is to learn with experts how to present it in an exhibition, or publish it in a book, or again present it through a portfolio during a fair. So all the objectives of this experience of this program is really to help them to be more focused with the market in the different level of the market dedicated to emerging photographers. So as I told you, the program is made with Paris Photo and SNCF Gares Connexions, and for this new edition this year, and I will let you know more about the open call later on, but I'm telling you now that it's still open until 13th of June for this year. And so, of course, open to all students in visual art and photography school in all European countries. But this year, thanks to the help of BenQ, which is our new partner on this program, we will have the opportunity to give visibility to 20 finalists from June till November through dedicated web pages and social medias. And to us, this is really important because it's good to have 4 winners, of course, and to help them to access to Paris Photo or any kind of experts. But it's also important to give something to some of the other finalists, you know, who also make interesting works. So that being said, I would like to focus now on 3 artists that we could discover thanks to this platform. And before starting with the work of Francesca Hummler, I would like to let you know that this program is really interesting, hopefully for emerging artists, but it's very interesting also for experts and professionals like us, because it's a way to know where photography is going, in a way, you know, and thanks to this, all these emerging photographers, to know what kind of photography they are creating and what is going to be photography tomorrow. What is it today and what is it going to be tomorrow? So and on that level, we will learn things very interesting. Francesca Hummler was, I think, a winner last year, and so, as I said, it's open to all students coming from European photography or visual art school. Francesca Hummler is coming from Royal College of Art, and she made a master's in photography. This is very interesting as a practice of commitment in photography, I would say. As Francesca Hummler, so she's a photographer based in San Diego, California. So she's not European, but coming from a European school. And she has been photographing her younger sister called Masantu for over a decade now. And Masantu was adopted into Francesca's family as a child, 10 years ago. And the theory proposed by Francesca began when her sister told her disappointment that she didn't have photos of her as a baby when she wasn't yet adopted. So in this series titled Our Dollhouse, Francesca photographs her sister through a dollhouse built by her great-great-grandparents, continued by her grandparents, and finished by her father. So the photograph allows Francesca to translate her own emotional support for her sister Masantu through all the challenges she may face growing up in a white family, as the United States, because of course she did that in San Diego, continues to be divided along racial lines. So to me, this is really interesting because the artist, the photographer Francesca, really use personal and domestic element to share a very personal story, the story of her sister, but to extend it to a more universal proposal. And we thought it was really a way very original to approach this kind of very committed subject, not so easy to approach mainly or specifically in the United States. This was the first example I wanted to share with you. Another one is original to me in two ways. So we will meet now Emil Gostelli, who came from Delft University of Technology in the Netherlands. So he's a photographer from the Netherlands, and he made this school in Netherlands. And before speaking about his photography, I would like to say one word about what he did before. Emil was more than 60 years old when he candidated for Carte Blanche Students. So he made all this first career working in the office to earn money and to live with his family and to make something else than photography. And when he retired, he decided really to focus on photography and to become a photographer. And he started this school to develop, to try to know where was his photography and how he wanted to see photography. So I thought the way he started was really interesting, and we were really excited. We didn't know it before during the jury, but we were really excited to know then after the jury decided to understand that he was more than 60, and the experience was really great for him. I chose also to present this project because Emil really proposed a conceptual approach of photography, but to interrogate us about photography itself. So the photographer in this series, that you can see one of the image, and I show you now a second one on the screen, which is, as you can see, very similar. So this series investigates what is behind the haystack photo, exploring the limits of perceived reality and the interaction between what we see and what we believe. So with this series called Laws of the Haystack, Emil Gostelli examines literally alternative construction and parallel meanings. He manually deconstructs the photograph into building blocks, then changes it again using a scientific approach combined with artistic freedom. In doing so, the photographer, Emil Gostelli, questions how he perceives the ambiguity of photographed reality. So what we thought was interesting in this approach is that one photographer chose to face reality of this haystack, use conceptual photography and digital composition to interrogate what is photography today. The third example I wanted to focus on today with you is more connected, I would say, with political concern that we can find with some photographer. Daniel Selley is a photographer, very young photographer coming from Hungary. And so he made his studies at Moholy-Nagy University of Art and Design in Budapest. And the project he developed and proposed and then published and exhibited, because of course what I didn't say, but will be maybe more explained with our special guest George Selley is how this program hopefully helps photographers to be exhibited and published. So in this project called Novegan, which was produced by Daniel from 2017 to 2018. So it is a project focusing on the eponymous breed of chickens called Novegan, genetically created to lay eggs for the production of vaccines and other pharmaceutical products. So considering Novegan white chickens and their role in the pharmaceutical industry, the work of Daniel Selley poses vital questions and dilemmas about humankind's relationships to nature and technology, and calls us to consider the price paid to maintain our health and longevity. And so on this image, you can see that the photographer decided to make a large collection of portraits of all kind of genetical chicken that you can find in this Novegan race of chicken that are totally created for scientific reasons, scientific approach. So it uses a conceptual way to interrogate our own reality and our own human being. The core of the project is so formed by, so you have maybe not on the screen, but you have a total of 168 individual portraits of Novegan white chickens, complemented by a series of photographs following the egg's way through the process of vaccine production. So this is these images that you can see. So what was really interesting in this work is that the photographer to approach this very political subject, which is really linked to a kind of disease or important question asked to each one of us, decided to use conceptual approach. We saw the portraits of the chickens, as well as documentary photography. And the all together is making a very original project that can be linked to a strong commitment photography approach. So it also includes, as we can see, extracts, well, we can't really fill them, but extracts from the management guide of Novegan white chickens and the marketing materials of the company which produces them. So we can understand that everything is connected between, you know, the way chicken are scientifically created and the way the photograph will try to connect our vision with this contemporary disease. So this was the three. These were the three projects I wanted to focus on. Well, hopefully to help you to discover new kind of approach of photography and present you this photographer, but also to let you know that thanks to Carte Blanche Student Program, we are really able to give emerging photographers the possibility to present their work, to be known, and the possibility for ourselves to discover what is photography today and what it's bringing us. So again, the open call still open until 13th of June. So any kind of student or school can, of course, participate. And so to participate to next Paris Photo, which will be in November. So now, last but not least, I would say, I would like to present the work of George Selley, and I will invite George to join us. Hello, George.
Hi, Vincent.
Hi. Thanks to be there. So, George, you are a London, British photographer based in close to London. You are coming from the London College of Communication, MA photojournalism and documentary photography. So this is thanks to this university that we could discover your work and what you did. So you are now based in London as a researcher as well as a photographer, and you are working with photography, video, and sound. You currently also teach photography at Fine Arts College in Camden. I can say just before that, giving you the mic, that your work has been published in some international magazines as Dazed or British Journal of Photography or Art Press, and exhibited and published in book. In 2017, you was one of the first 4 photographers to receive the Paris Photo Carte Blanche Student Award for your series called Vault 7. In this series, Vault 7, maybe I will just show one image now. Following the discovery of the 8,761 idly classified CIA documents leaked to the public by WikiLeaks in March 2017, you were fascinated by the banality these files reveal about the workings, daily life, and world of a spy. So you decided to make a series with that, and thanks to the series, you could be identified for Paris Photo. So thanks for being here, and I let you maybe present you firstly, maybe speak about this series and this experience about Carte Blanche program. Thank you, George.
Thanks, Vincent. Yes, so I thought I'd just talk a little bit about Vault 7 first of all, which is this series. And this was the series that I submitted when I was a student and became one of the laureates of the Carte Blanche Award. And the project revolves around, as Vincent said, a WikiLeaks file dump, which was all on the cyber capabilities of the CIA. And it was a huge file dump. And there was one particularly interesting document to me, which was a document that guided sort of covert agents who are arriving in Frankfurt, where the CIA Center for Cyber Intelligence is located. And this document was a kind of almost like one of these books for dummies, you know, how to kind of how to be a spy and how to move around and what to do once you arrive in the city. But it was almost kind of absurd in the sense that there was some very strange sentences such as gas stations not recommended for fine dining, or don't leave your sensitive information lying around your hotel room. So anyway, I decided to kind of go and perform this document. So I went with an actor and we went to Frankfurt and we followed the steps of the document in this kind of satirical way and kind of performed it. That was the project that I submitted and I produced while I was still a student at the London College of Communication. And that's what I was selected for the award. And then I just thought I'd talk a little bit about what happened after that. So my experience of the award was, it was very intense time. And, you know, obviously it was a fantastic opportunity to exhibit at Paris Photo. And, you know, it was a real kind of whirlwind experience for me, and was really a kind of stepping stone into launching my work and my kind of career. And the community that was formed out of that was also very valuable to me. And we've since formed a collective with the other laureates. So each year when the Carte Blanche collective, Carte Blanche laureates win, they have the opportunity to join our collective. But from that award, I was offered my first residency, which was a home session in Barcelona. And that's when I started making my next body of work, which is called A Study of Assassination, which I think we can see here. So this is an image from that project. And this was a project about the United Fruit Company and the CIA, who had kind of colluded with each other in the 50s to kind of overthrow the Guatemalan government, Jacobo Arbenz. And it's a work that uses lots of found material. So it uses archive images from the press at the time. It uses the documents from manuals that were created by the CIA that were given out to mercenaries, including one called A Study of Assassination, which was a manual on how to assassinate people. And behind this kind of conflict that was going on, there was this huge PR campaign that was very successful that framed the banana as a kind of fun-loving and innocent, sexy kind of fruit. And this is an image of the final exhibition of that residency program in Barcelona. And that project was then eventually published as a book, which you can see there, and I've got a copy here. And I think it just suits a book very well because it works with a lot of archival material, and the project sort of raises questions about the kind of subjectivity of the archive. And you know, this book is you're able to, I'm sure you can't really see it very well, but you're able to kind of deconstruct and reconstruct it in different orders, and take the whole thing apart and put it back together again in your own way. And so that was obviously the first book that I published, and that was a great learning curve for me to, you know, to collaborate with a publisher and a designer and create a book that's actually shared and disseminated. And then after that, more recently, just before the pandemic and during the pandemic, I was then selected for something called the Parallel Photo Platform, which is a European sort of mentorship program that takes 30 young and up-and-coming artists from around the world. And that's where I made my third major body of work, which was called Human Exploitation, which you can see an installation view of here at Modena, Art Vis-a-Vis in Modena in Italy. And this was a fantastic mentorship program, which is a year-long, and you're put through a kind of quite critical program, and you're given a mentor, and you have to you know, produce a body of work during that time. And this body of work was again about a kind of US military manual that was used in Latin America, and I actually collaborated with some other artists from Argentina and Mexico, who I'd met previously after the Carte Blanche, an exhibition that I had after the Carte Blanche Award. And this work was exhibited widely through the mentorship program across Europe, and as well as sort of creating some really long-lasting connections with people. And I think that after speaking about all of these examples, you know, as fantastic as it is to have, you know, obviously the exposure is fantastic in meeting and you know, exhibiting the work, but I think looking back, something that's really valuable is the community that you're kind of exposed to, and that you create long-lasting friendships and relationships with people, whether they be other artists like yourself, or curators, or directors, or festivals, or publishers. You know, that's really invaluable as a practitioner, I think, today, to have your network and your community, and there's value and meaning in that. So you know, looking back, I think that's the main consistency throughout all of these experiences that have come since winning the award. Yeah, and I think we're going to maybe have some questions and answers.
Yeah, thank you very much, George, for this presentation. This was really interesting. Maybe just one question before we open the Q&A. You talk about the Carte Blanche collective. So this means that through the editions of Carte Blanche program, so with maybe 20 or 24 photographers, you tried all together to be connected, and how do you share this experience? Because you did not know each other before, so it's a kind of artificial collective at the beginning. How does it work?
Yeah, so I was part of the first group to win the award. We were the first 4, and we decided that it was an opportunity to kind of, you know, get something going for the future years that would win the award. And so we decided to form a collective whereby every year the 4 new laureates, you know, we kind of all meet in Paris and meet the 4 new laureates and get together and invite them into our collective, and together we kind of do crit sessions, you know, portfolio reviews, exhibitions, sharing contacts, and again forming communities and relationships, which, as I said, is something that I find very valuable. So yeah.
So you think that emerging photographer needs really to work together? Sometimes, you
Yes.
know, we think, well, it's very difficult to be by your own, and at the same time, it's always one photographer against another one, because you need to get the opportunity. But on the other end, it's always better maybe to be collective.
Absolutely. I think that that's possibly the most valuable and meaningful experience that I've had from all of these, fantastic experiences. The thing that really stays with me and that I find meaning in is the community and the relationships that I've built, which are very supportive. It's very difficult to make a living and to kind of, succeed. It's very competitive in the photography world. So that having a community and having people around you who are able to give you critical feedback or help you in some ways, or even just to have a friendship with, is really important.
And so you spoke about this book, so maybe can we order it? Can we find it somewhere, or have more info, details about the book?
You can order it through my website at georgeselley.com, Selley, or if you just Google my name, George Selley, then my website should be the link that comes up at the top. And on there, there's a section of publications, and you can buy a copy of this book. There's still some copies left.
Excellent, because it's true that we really need to get inside the book to really understand the project. It's really difficult to show it with a few images. Like
it is very difficult. Yeah, I mean, it's quite hard to see, but there's lots of things that kind of pop out, and you can kind of deconstruct it, and you can put it back in different orders, and it's very kind of interactive, and it's designed in a way that the viewer is not kind of has an active participation in the reading of the book, more so than a normal book.
Great. Okay, merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. So maybe we can see now if there is any questions from the audience.
Yes. So a question for George from Robin in Glasgow. George, can you tell us how this program became kind of a booster for you? Can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, so I think that a lot of the experiences and opportunities that I gained looking back, came from that initial opportunity. I'd never, as a student, the idea of exhibiting in the Grand Palais was immense. That's a fantastic opportunity, and this is, everybody kind of descends there, and it's very intense, and you've got your table, and you're sitting there for 4 days, and everybody's coming from members of the public that are just interested to directors and other artists and curators, and so you kind of run out of business cards very quickly, and form loads of contacts and communication. But yeah, it was then the residency obviously I met someone. The residency that I was offered in Barcelona came from a meeting that I had at the Grand Palais in person, which is very important to meet people in person, I think. So everything kind of, that's where the book came from, which is where I got onto the mentorship program recently.
So the contacts you made, they were not only French, they were from all over the world, correct?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, very much so. It's very international.
Great. A question from a number of people. Where can we see the work of the finalists for this year? That's a question for Vincent.
For the next edition, for this year, we will have the possibility, and I will show you the link at the end. We are developing web pages on the website of Paris Photo. So I show you now maybe the link here. So on Paris Photo website, which is parisphoto.com, you will have soon a link where you can discover the work of the 20 finalists, as I said, and later on the 4 winners will be revealed. And you can also get details and information about the project, subscribing our newsletter on Picto Foundation website, also to stay tuned about the project, and we will let you know through a mailing of the specific date when the finalists will be announced.
Okay, thank you. Question from Marion from France. Do you have to be part of an art of photo school to participate?
I can answer, but Josh could answer also. But yes, it's open to any kind of photography and visual art school based in Europe. As I could precise with Francesca Imler, the photographer can be from another country, from a European country, but the school must be European based.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Georges, do you have a question for Vincent?
I don't think so, no. I haven't prepared any.
No, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you to both of you. And we're going to close this session and it will be available for replay.
Yes, thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
See you soon at Paris Photo.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Thank you.